Welcome. Thank you for joining me. You didn't have to do this. We just got done eating lunch at a place called Surf and Turf, I guess, or Miss CJ's Surf and Turf. Some of the CR CJ's Surf and Turf. I had fish and chips.
Yes.
And you had?
I had gumbo and jumbo shrimp.
Gumbo
and it was delicious.
And jumbo shrimp. I wanted to open this up with...
Thank you for having me, by the way. Episode, what number?
99.
99?
We'll call it 99.
I love it.
Because I looked back and I was like, yeah, you're right, 98. So this would be 99. I'd rather argue with myself than with anyone else. Arguing with others is for the weak, those that want to live in pain. I'm here to enjoy the pleasures of life blessed by God, the gift of life for which I am eternally grateful. I still question myself to verify my work. Which means kind of internally, if you look back at it, it's like, I guess I sometimes still do argue with people. But I wanted to have you on the show because I have questions about what I'm doing and putting that on record with your experience for you to help me solve these problems, these obstacles.
Oh, wow. That's no pressure to solve some problems. Yeah, I'm here, man. So what kind of, are you talking like career-wise, filmmaking-wise?
Definitely career-wise. I mean, we're friends. We built up a friendship.
Totally.
I mentioned to you while we were at the restaurant that like you to put it into a words, I said it's like Tony Robbins' cold plunge. You approach with like, this is how it works. Listen to me, and you'll learn from me. And that's how. That first meeting with us, I always bring this up. We always bring this up somehow. And
the one at Kick Butt?
Yeah, at Kick Butt.
The first time we met, which was probably March 2019.
It was a while back. No, it had to have been before that.
No,
it
was
been 2018. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Holy shit.
Well,
I think just for the context, I think you're talking about Knives and his third person. Wow, what a douchebag. You're talking about my attitude in conversation. Like I come at it with a certain cut the crap, not a my way or the highway kind of thing, but more like certainty. I would say I bring like I'm very certain about certain things.
Sure.
Yeah, but to be fair, I'm also incredibly curious. Like I'm a passionately curious person. Like I stay in my lane. Like if we're talking about content marketing, if we're talking about filmmaking, content creation, videography, I'm confident I can talk with the best of them and you. But if we're talking about poker, I'm like, oh shit, I'm a novice here, right? So certain thing. What an unprofessional right there with this phone. Just kidding.
This is my show. Forget you.
True that. But yeah, so I do bring that certainty to a very narrow ass lane. But when I'm outside my comfort zone, I'm a listener. I'm a hardcore listener, and I pay attention, and I'm a student, right? But when it comes to filmmaking, I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all, but I've put in over a decade and a half of time, and I've also watched the industry transform. How many people get that? So I think I like to bring my perspective, and I can't navel gaze and be insecure about that perspective, especially when I'm trying to add value to businesses or influencers or filmmakers or actors. You need to have the direction. If you're a director, you need to have that vision. You need to be able to have the skills, the soft skills to articulate that vision. So if I do that, if that sticks out to you like a sore thumb, it's probably because I've been doing it for a long time. That's all.
Yeah. And I think when we first met, you asked me the question of what my why is. And that was really haunting for a while because I don't know. I still don't know what why is. Like it changes. It's not always consistent. It felt like you need to know right now, like it was a rush type of thing, but not necessarily. What I've arrived at in my journey, and at that point in time, I thought I was actualized in a way. Like I thought I knew what I was trying to do, and clearly not. Austin Live and Local was just a stepping stone to Cyber City Media, to Esports Business Network, to the next project, which is sort of trying to develop cosplayer.gg.
Well, it's not any different from going to one movie to another. Each movie that you do is a startup. You have to raise money for that movie.
Yeah.
And every time you're in a new genre, it's like what you just said. You're a business person, but you go from Austin Live and Local to Cyber City Media. It's almost the same, but it's a different genre. Right. So it's we're alike in that way, I think. I see the common denominator.
Yeah, but what I didn't realize was,
and the why changes is what I wanted to add to that.
Right.
The why, you add more layers to that onion, the why.
Yeah.
The why in 1999 versus 2009 versus 2019, the why should evolve.
Right. Yeah. And like singularly, where I was at then was, I think just on Facebook at the time. And so what I didn't realize is, there's different courts for a reason. Like I felt like I guess looking back now, I feel like I was playing hockey in a basketball arena, and so Austin Live and Local still hasn't found its home. It still hasn't found its home. What I've found though is now my home seems to exist on LinkedIn. I find the most success in what I'm doing so far on LinkedIn. And you mentioned I'm a businessman. Well, that's sort of what I've come to be. But I mentioned to you, I didn't understand the language. Like to me, making a movie is what I was doing. But to the business people, it's called content marketing.
Yeah. Well, you went to essentially art college, right? And it sounds like to me, since I never went to a film school or to a college in general, it sounds like to me they don't teach you the business side, the language, the words, and I was self-taught in that way. Like I torrented a Tony Robbins business mastery seminar, which was like 30 hours. And that's where I discovered Gary Vee. Gary Vee in 2009, spoke publicly at this event for Tony. And I filled up an entire notebook of all the notes that I took. And they explained like email marketing, mail, snail mail marketing, and like explained the rules to me on how to convert, what a funnel is like. And in this, I learned the language, and I knew that I was going to, this was in 2016 when I found this. I knew that I was going to take this business language and apply it to art, and because I knew that's just where I was going to make my fortune anyways. So I had to self-teach myself that, and that was gatekeep. So I had to torrent it. I don't even know if it's available now, but if it was, you have to pay $10,000 for that. Tony says in that there essentially was a webinar, but it was an event. He had said that I think each person paid like $50,000 to be there. Like, holy fucking shit, So the fact that I was getting those nutrients means that it was like the finest elk that you could ask for. Like it was straight farm to table kind of business. And because of that vocab, I was able to take that to businesses where they knew what they were talking about, but I can now bring my art and my cinema and say, here, look, I know your language. Here's this and here's that. And here's how it applies to your business. So it's just a matter of like infiltrating, if I really wanted to get inundated to hockey, like I would learn all the terms of hockey, speak to the coaches, and then bring my art into them and be like, look, the puck, or whatever it is, like, I don't know the language, but when it comes to business, I knew it was up to me to learn it. I'm not going to go to college for that. So I went around the gate. Yeah.
Which is interesting. And for this show, you actually acknowledged something about what I'm doing with Esports Business Network. But for this show, it seems I haven't structured it in any particular way. It's conversation. So things might just come up that kind of don't seem to align with something that we've been saying previously. Because like with Esports Business Network, I definitely have like a general script of like, who are you? What are you doing? And then like, what do you foresee the future of what you're doing being?
This is what you ask people in that industry.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of conversational, but I have a fail safe if someone can't, keep up with the conversation, with just being themselves or whatever the situation may be. Mm-hmm. With this, I haven't exactly developed what it is.
And this being
the interview portion, sort of part of Trent Knox show.
For me, like, with my podcast, Knives Monroe versus the podcast, yeah. I honestly, I started doing the Mark Maron WTF outline. I started off like talking to people like I'm at their level, and I'm like, who are your guys? Like, you know, where were you born? I always start off with like, before I know it, I'm painting the mosaic of a person's life, and I'm deeply fascinated in that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about things, and then I want to dive deeper into certain things. If someone had a movie, I want to know, where'd you come up with that idea? How did you cast it? You know, how did you find the money for it? What did you edit it on? Like, and that's valuable to my audience, right?
Yeah.
So that is really like that Mark Maron form is the way I do it. Joe Rogan doesn't necessarily do that. I don't know what he does, but for me, that's my fail safe is, okay, I'm going to talk about a person. I'm going to get into their life.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know,
because I never have I'm not a topic podcaster, right? So what is your nucleus? What is your fail safe here?
Right. So when you started talking about Joe Rogan there, he mentioned recently that, you know, people have come on his show that they just came on to promote their book or promote their movie or something like that. And I think that that's where he's at now, is like most people are reaching out to do some form of rollout for their content. So when he mentioned that, it really was an eye-opening thing, but he's still trying to hit that 3-hour mark, right? That 3-hour time frame of a conversation, a long format conversation. And so I think he always, or a lot of the times, opens up with, you wrote a book. And then from there it goes on, unless it's about, I can't stand listening to these episodes about hunting or, you know, even the MMA ones half the time. But
maybe he did turn into that. I don't know.
To a degree.
You know, Tarantino was there to promote a book.
Right.
Neil deGrasse Tyson was recently there to promote a book.
Right. And I had this sort of like weird, like I felt like I was living in two realities where Tarantino had already been on the podcast.
He hadn't.
But then somehow he hadn't.
He had not. No.
No, I thought he had. I thought I just had this memory of him like.
Guy Ritchie was on there.
No, it wasn't. It was
thinking of filmmakers.
It was somebody who was just really like.
Rob Zombie?
Tarantino. No, because Rob Zombie, I just remember this individual coming on and saying the N-word and just like being really crass, like Tarantino is. Like his personality comes off like, who does, I mean, who is this guy? Like, obviously it's Tarantino, but you know, it's just like, if it was just somebody walking down the street, you didn't know who they were, you'd be like, this guy's a jackass, you know?
Sure. People still call him that regardless.
Like that meme video of him like at the Starbucks.
Yeah, I love that video.
That's just so hilarious.
I believe that's at the Sundance Film Festival.
That's at the Sundance Festival?
It's supposedly in Colorado or something. And like a paparazzi comes up to him and he's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing here? Like that.
It's in Colorado? So
I want to say.
It was at Telluride.
If you believe the headline. I might not be accurate.
Speaking of which, film festivals.
Sure.
You never put your films through any film festivals?
I put my first feature film in South by.
In South by.
I mean, I submitted it. It did not. It didn't. I didn't get picked up.
That's interesting.
I wasn't selected.
You know what's actually interesting?
Nor did I deserve to be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It was just pure audacity and ignorance. I just felt like that, oh yeah, you do it and then I'm going to get in. I just thought that's part of the career and it didn't happen. Maybe
it was early on though. Maybe that was what it was when South by was first in its infancy.
Look,
it was like any.
I would have even less respect today for South by Southwest had they selected my film than I do today, thanking goodness that they didn't.
Right.
Because it just wasn't worthy of that. It just wasn't.
What's interesting is I've
on Indie Spirit alone, I deserve to be on that list.
Yeah.
But for an actual competent film, no.
Right.
To be fair.
I don't know what South by is or isn't doing. And I'm, South by Southwest seems it holds less value in my mind than it did previous times. But I submitted a few different things to festivals before, music videos, and while I was in school, we submitted things to student film festivals and whatnot. We made into some of them. It's a thing that at least in the gaming world, it's just a totally different medium. But I find myself, that's what I'm doing now. I'm looking for stages to speak on, to talk about it, talk about gaming and esports and how do you become a gaming content creator and what do you do? How do you find success in esports if you're not a player, right? What I'm finding is the opportunities are there, but similar to the way you talk about the film festival is it pretentious? Is there an aspect of who am I to be on that stage?
I don't feel that way, but I had an acclaimed filmmaker who has won awards and has produced films for PayPal and Clinique. Christine Chen, who was sitting where you're sitting, and she came in and we did a podcast together, and I asked her about film festivals, and she was just like, it is a place to meet people. Like, that's the whole thing. You go there and you network. You go there and you rub elbows with people, and hopefully you find a photographer for your next thing, or a cinematographer, or an actor for your next thing. And, it's very incestuous insofar as, people are cross-pollinating their networks with each other. And so that's where the value is today. Film festivals used to be the only game in town, and they're not anymore. But, today you could host your own film festival. Like, we've cut out the middleman, as you know. Is it pretentious? I mean, there's nothing more pretentious than a filmmaker, so I'm not even adverse to that.
So I wrote this question down that I was going to post on LinkedIn, but I chose not to post it. And this kind of goes into the same conversation about getting fundraising and getting your movie paid for. In this case, it's it's not specific to the gaming and esports industry. It's not specific to really anything. But the question, what is the best way to cold call sponsors? Obviously, the best opportunity is one in which the sponsor is reaching out to the influencer for an opportunity. However, I, like a high number of influencers, don't have the type of magnetism. We're at a level micro influence where the attention we receive doesn't impress the big budget advertisers the same way that the macro influencers compel. And I want to go back there and kind of edit that, including like venture capitalism, advertisers, and doing that part their attention. Nonetheless, we need appropriate and adequate distributed exchange of social proofing, engagement, and compensation. So you talked about going to film festivals to get your movie greenlit, getting out of that language, but just like generally speaking, if someone wants to be an artist, how do they get paid to do that? If they don't have if they're just starting to build their community.
For filmmakers?
I mean, filmmakers, models, anybody who's like kind of like could sell a product through their likeness, whether that be through the medium of film.
So I think it's two steps.
Photography.
The first step is develop your voice. That could take 10 years. That could take 5 years. That could take 5 months, but it's a process. Respect the process. You might as well do that for free. You might as well do that for exposure. Like, I would encourage someone who has not found their voice, their signature, their fingerprints. Like, if you believe in auteur theory, like what makes you, you, go find that. PA on every set that you can, work on every set that you can, film weddings if you want. If you're a model, like hit up every photographer that you know or aspiring photographer and do that. Utilize these direct consumer platforms like Instagram, etc. to do that. If you're an actor, then you should be on TikTok and you should be filming skits and you should be doing different characters. Find your voice. If you found your voice, how do you get paid for that? Then once you found your voice, you need to be you on purpose, deliberately, with intent on every platform that you can, in your way, at your pace. Like for some people, they can afford to make 3 videos a day every day. For some people, maybe it's once a month. Well, then do that. You can't afford a month not to. Visibility and putting yourself out there and being vulnerable is how you're going to secure a deal or meet someone who knows someone who can vouch for you. Like, the vouching process is how I was able to make 6 figures with art money, was because somebody vouched for me. Someone said, I trust this guy, and you have to build up credit and goodwill with other people, and your reputation could take 30 years to build, but 5 minutes to be destroyed. So you really have to be mindful in how you're building that reputation, and every set that you're on, every presentation that you commit to, anytime you're in a room with other people, like, please leave a good taste in their mouth. Like, be respectful. Leave the camp better than you found it, right? So And all those things, like, you have to be doing it to know and to gauge, is this working for me? Like, it's not like, you would say 30 years ago, go to Hollywood, write a script, write a treatment, have a 30-second pitch, go to meetings and pitch it. Like, it's sort of linear back then. It's not so much linear now. Like, now it's, you have your phone. Are you putting in the work? Are you becoming inevitable? Are you training your audience to buy a ticket from you, or whatever that exchange is to make money? Like, are you doing that? If you're not showing up, you don't belong here.
I'm kind of digesting that, because when you're early on and you're trying to develop that conditioning, what I've experienced is just not selling tickets, or selling, what else? T-shirts, like not selling any products, and kind of just shouting into the void of online media. It can wear on you emotionally. So that's where I'm at, like in some ways, and is that I've developed an audience, and I'm trying to negotiate deals to I guess sell products, services, or solutions that are other people's to the audience that I've developed, specifically on LinkedIn, but not specifically. I mean, obviously I'll still try to sell to empty voids on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or wherever, that something could be sold on, but it's still sort of challenging, in the sense of just not getting the engagement and just kind of being stuck.
Have you ever done sales?
Yeah,
traditional sales?
I started my resume in sales. Yeah.
Okay. And did you build your leads?
I did.
How'd you do that?
Early on, it was friends and family. So you start off with your mom, you try there. Then she's like, no, or yes, or whatever, not to the...
How many deals when you were starting as a salesperson did you make?
I think 14 in a month.
And how many people did you talk to, and what is the ratio? Like, if you talk to 100 people and you closed 14, that's a 14% conversion, right? Like, what would
I
be
probably
the ratio?
lost 3 people. It's probably 17.
You asked 17 people and you got 14 deals.
At that time I was selling those kitchen knives and stuff like that.
Cutco?
So, yeah.
Okay. And you asked 17, less than 20 people, and friends and family, based on good faith, or maybe your presentation, did that.
So first off family, then friends of family, and then their friends. Yeah.
I want to shine a light on that framework, because if I understood you correctly and heard you right, with Esports Business Network, you're essentially you want to be, as a form of one revenue stream, you want to be basically an influencer, because you're
simple enough.
You're chucking other people's products, is what I heard.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Okay. So it's the same thing. It's the same sales funnel. You go into your network and then you ask them to buy it.
Yeah.
So what you are is a salesperson.
True.
And the void and all the pain, if you will, like all the difficulty that comes with being a salesperson is what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. Are you in sales?
Of course.
That's what you desire to be in?
No, I would rather have salesmen that work for me.
Okay, so I would do that.
Right. I mean, it's the process, of course, and so throughout the process, I have to.
So it's a whole nother framework and a whole nother mindset and a whole nother vocabulary to hire salespeople to do that for you. Mm-hmm. So you have to develop those skills, hard skills and soft skills do that.
And you have to, like, go back to Cutco, for example. They have a training module.
I've seen the penny. We've talked about this on the podcast, on my podcast.
They have a training module that you carry into every single sales experience you have after that of how sales is done. And that's called the Blue Book. It's a top-down sales model.
If I may interject, I learned that I am not a salesperson. Mm-hmm. And so I don't do that.
I mean, I've learned that I'm not a salesperson, but you have to do it.
I don't do it.
I would push back on that saying you had to sell yourself to some business.
People tell me that. Salespeople tell me that. Like, oh, Knives, you're actually a really good salesman. And I'm like, you think I'm selling myself? I'm not selling myself. I'm giving away what I believe are good blueprints for free. I'm not selling anything. If you're buying trust from me, that's on you and that's good faith, but I'm not monetizing off of anybody for anything. Like I'm not a salesperson. I tried sales where you would cold call and other businesses had the leads for you and you warm them up, etc., set up meetings, blah, blah, blah. And out of 90 days, I closed 2 or 3 deals. Mm-hmm. That's a deal a month. I was fucking starving. I had 1 egg in the fridge. Like I am not a salesperson. I learned it the hard way.
Very true. I think what people say or what people mean by that is that anytime you're in a job interview, you are selling yourself to get the opportunity. I'm sure you've had job interviews and I'm sure you've gotten jobs. And that was based off of the fact of what you told the people that you are or what you aren't. I mean, that's what they mean by you're selling yourself.
Well, let's make a distinction here, because when I say sales, I'm talking about taking a product or a service that does not belong to you and you're selling it and you get a commission. Yeah. I'm literally talking in those finite terms.
Yeah, no, I know. I
am not, saying. Me personally, Knives is not interested in that, nor am I good at it, nor is it a muscle that I want to work really, really hard on to grow. It's not going to grow.
Yeah, no, I
don't got the genes for it.
No, I get the separation there. You don't have a product business that you're selling. Product.
I'm not. I know, and also I nor do I want Squarespace to come up to me and offer me money to promote their thing, because I don't do that. It's going to be so disingenuous of me when Knives is like, this episode of Good Content is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace, get your domain at blah blah blah. Use code NDAF to get 10% off now. Like, dude, and I'm not against that. I'm just not that. I'm not comfortable doing that.
So
I'm not against making money and I'm not against that. People that are really good at it, awesome, respect. This isn't even a backhanded compliment. Like, I just know that I'm not that person. Nor do I make art for that transaction.
I don't really want to get stuck on this topic for too much longer.
I bring it up because, it's imperative for us to know what we're good at and to do more of that. The stuff that we don't like to do, nor are we good at, we probably shouldn't spend too much time on that. That's just a philosophy of mine. We can move on.
I agree. I think, we don't live in a socialist government, so you got to go and make your dollars. So, I mean, you got to do what it takes to make a buck. So when you say like you're not the person to sell Squarespace, I think I am, I'm not, but Esports Business Network is. I mean, Trent Knox Productions is all as well. This show or whatever, it could get there. It's not there now. Honestly, I think I'm more picky when it comes to this because I'm like, what do I really care about?
Sales in and of itself, like the nature of the beast, is feast or famine. You eat what you hunt.
Well, here's the thing.
Right? So if you're in between meals, so to speak, in that way, it's because of the paradigm that you're existing in, which is sales. It's because of that. And just know
that will take some time to
just know that the plight, the road, if you will, the trajectory of a salesperson is what you're describing, of like, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're screaming into the abyss. And it's hard when you don't have any leads. You got to respect the sales funnel. You got to respect how sales is done. If you don't have any leads, then you are screaming into a void, And so what your areas of opportunity are if you know the game that in which you're playing, and it sounds like you're playing in sales. That's
all. Yeah, that seems like something that what it's coming off as, and this is not necessarily what you're saying, but what I'm interpreting as a meaning of what you're saying is I didn't have the will to choose sales because I was it was not of free will. I ended up in my first job being in sales.
You're telling me that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like And now that my resume looks like that, and that's the resume that has gone around as far as professional experience, that I get, swept into the sales pile when someone reads the resume.
So you're saying reluctantly, you just happen to fall into this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, when you graduate from high school and it's people can go not one or two ways. People go ways, and generally the thing that they do is the first opportunity that comes to them. That's the situation that happened with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even spend that much time in sales.
Yeah.
What I mean? I just spent like a summer selling knives.
So Trent, 2021 Trent today, you don't have to play a game that you don't want to play.
Let's go back.
You don't have to be a player in that game that you don't want to be in.
What I'm saying is it's not my choice. It's not my choice in the sense of the
Where's your agency?
Hold on. This goes to something you said on your show, Good Content, is that back in 2008, they said the AI took over the world. Mm-hmm. Well, in some ways, because we have this data, this archive data, my resume continues to go out to these opportunists, or I'm an opportunist. I'm an opportunist. They're the person who wants an opportunity is an opportunist. The person who supplies the opportunity is something else. Whatever that person keeps on seeing the same resume and my fight against. Sure, I can fight against that by sending out a resume.
Update your resume.
That's not how it works though. With those, it's just the system that the Indeeds, the Monster.coms, they send out these resumes. Then those resumes get sold to other people. And so there's this never-ending cycle of resumes that are not the most up-to-date because they bought data from a company. They bought secondhand data. So there's this whole big market of secondhand data that's not up-to-date.
Uh-huh.
And so what I'm doing to fight against that is to try and redefine myself through 3 different businesses, so that, those businesses, the Cyber City Me's, the Esports Business Networks, the Trent Knox Productions, aren't necessarily associated with the Trent Knox. And that's not, my government name is totally different than that. And that person that started in this professional world has realized that, I signed a few bad deals, and now that I'm at where I'm at today, it's like, I'm looking and I now understand, like, what do I need? What do I need? Now that I see the contracts, I'm like, okay, so if I'm doing hourly work, I want $250 an hour. And then, we can make a different negotiation if it's a quarter. We can make another different negotiation if you're willing to commit to a year. Whatever the level of commitment is from the employers, not necessarily employers. I mean, employer it indicates a full-time, part-time internship. Those are employers, but mid-sized businesses and small businesses hire generally contractors based on that sort of thing. Please continue. Are we stuck on something? No, you're good. And so yeah, now there is secondhand data out there with companies that potentially could be those opportunities, but they think I'm a salesman when honestly I'm most likely just a creative, someone who just generates stuff. I feel that's where I'm at now. I don't have a product. I don't know anyone with a product to sell. You could argue I've got these hats, which I, gifted one to you, and I've got another one to gift to some other people, and I probably will gift more of them out. They're on sale, but I'm not pushing them by any means. They're just out there for purchase. Could I sell them? Maybe I could sell them, but I'm not going to. So in the same way that you don't sell Indie Darlings merch.
I don't really, like, I have a website. It's on there. That's really Claire's thing,
Yeah.
For me, like, I told her, If we have a viral piece of content
Mhm.
and it has 1 million views, 1% of that, I believe, is something like 10,000. 1% of that needs to subscribe to us. So you have a 1 million viewed TikTok, for example. 1% of that needs to subscribe. So you have 10,000 subscribers now. Let's just say, playing the numbers. Out of that 10,000, you need 1% to go to your website and to buy something. So out of 10,000, what is that? 1,000 is 1%? No, 100. So you have a piece of content that has 1 million views and you want 100 people to buy. Out of that 1 million, 100 people. It's 1% of 1%. So for me, I've told Claire, until we have that piece of content, why are we selling anything? Let's focus all of our resources on that first, because that's hard enough. Making a viral piece of content is hard enough. And then, to me, once you have that 10,000 followers from that 1 million, now people know. And even then, how many people are going to drop off from that? And it's still a funnel. It's all about the funnel, right? And so for me, the only upside of selling something like that is financial independence, where if you have 10 streams and you're making money when you sleep, then that's groovy, right? Obviously, I wouldn't say no to that. But I believe in making the work first. Like, you have to build it so they can come, like, period. Not build the merch. Otherwise, you're sitting on inventory. And I have too much experience with that.
I know what you're saying.
Just to add to what you're saying, that's why
I
I don't do it. Like, I've had that experience,
I know what you're saying. And so
I care more about how many people are watching my stuff.
Yeah. Alternatively, I also don't have products that I'm selling. Well, here's the thing. I probably do, but the margins on them aren't like good. They're not good. Right. They're, there's affiliate stuff. I could probably sell affiliate stuff on Amazon, right? There's probably like kit.com. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, right? So I've got all my equipment that I have. And if I was telling people that I own this equipment, then I could get affiliate sales on that. Like, I just don't do that. There's nothing particularly wrong with it.
Dude, none of that. None of those things. Man, I feel like you and I, we always land right here again. But if you don't have the traffic, it doesn't matter.
Right. No, I see that. But
period.
But you got to build to get the traffic. The doing that doesn't matter if you don't have the traffic.
That's what I just said.
Right. But you still got to do it in order to get the traffic.
No.
If that's what you're doing, like you've mentioned sales, if that's what you're doing, like if your job is sales, that's what you have to do. Even if you don't get any sales and you've got no one to sell to, it's the same thing as like being a movie maker. If you can't make your best film, you got to still make films.
So when other companies are giving you codes to sell stuff, that's the framework. So then you're supposed to take your traffic and sell them that. That's your framework.
Well, in the affiliate
I'm talking about if I build something on Kit and I have these affiliate Amazon links and I get a cut, it's very small. People would have to buy, I don't know how many GH5s for me to actually make fucking money.
Right.
If I don't have traffic in there, it doesn't matter. Period. That's that framework, right? So what you're talking about is you're a salesperson for somebody else who already has that. That's different. So those are two different things. And they're using you for your traffic. They don't talk to you if you don't have traffic. You see what I'm saying? So the traffic is first. Supply and demand. Like, the demand needs to be there. If it's not there, the supply is, dude, like, here's the thing.
I am talking about
cocaine is a $1 billion industry because the demand is there. So best believe the cartel, they're going to supply it. They're going to supply that shit. Even if they got to cut fucking heads off, they're going to do it. So, it's the same thing with us. Like, I have to bring in my own bulk and I have to, unload and ship the bulk that I'm bringing, which are good content episodes, Pipe Dream, podcasts, behind the scenes, feature films, etc., my pillars. Like that's my bulk. And when that reaches a critical mass, then I can create all the stuff to profit off of that. And that stuff, the creating of that is easy. You can do that overnight.
Right. So what I'm
but building the traffic doesn't happen overnight.
What I'm highlighting, and this is why I like what you're saying, is that when you don't have it,
have what?
You got to do whatever you got to do.
And you don't have what?
If you don't have product, services, solutions, capital, you name it in the business world. If you don't have it, you'll do whatever it takes to get it so that you can make this thing work, so that this thing works, so that that works, and maybe this works. If you try this, then maybe it could work there. That's the gamut we are in. If you're an entrepreneur who has no direct like deal.
It's one way to do it. It's not the only way. Like there's some entrepreneurs that know how to build a business.
Notwithstanding, the majority of entrepreneurs are failing. There's the unicorns, which we mentioned at lunch, was that the unicorns
get all the attention.
So everyone is comparing themselves and getting this level of anxiety. Even at, you mentioned 18 years old.
It's the high school dance syndrome of like no one's looking at me.
Everyone's in the same high school.
Yeah. That's the internet.
Right. And so to lead this out of just that aspect of the Logan Pauls versus the Trent Knoxes.
And like I said at the gumbo place, like it's not binary. It's a flawed setup. That's a clickbait headline, but it ain't fucking real. You know what I mean? The Logan Pauls and the Trent Knoxes, like it's not the same thing. It's not fair to even. It shouldn't go anywhere.
It shouldn't. I mean, that's not a matchup that you would put if we were in wrestling terms. That's not a matchup you would do on the cards, right? But then
it's not fair.
That's what it seems like that the Hollywood people are doing.
It's funny, like you're right? You know, can you admit that that's the system?
The system is putting Logan Paul versus
it's the system Mayweather profiting off of your fucking insecurity. That's what it is. It's not fucking fair. Okay, I don't like it.
True.
I don't wish to participate in that. If I've ever made anybody fucking feel insecure, like I want to rectify that immediately. Like it's not what I'm about. You know what I mean? It's not. And like this whole fame thing of like I'm 19 and I'm not famous yet. Like
I don't think people...
That's going back off for people listening, like they might not understand why we're saying that, but that goes back to our conversation when we had lunch. And it goes back to this obscurity /unicorn /attention model of the internet, which seems to only profit. It seems to only help the algorithms, but not mankind, not humankind.
Interesting. And so do you think that the directors, producers, the people who make these things up, like a Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, they do that to intentionally get to that insecurity, or is it seriously entertainment value? People think that it's fun.
Do you know what my life's motto is?
What's your life's motto?
You don't know what my life's motto is?
What
I haven't talked to you about this.
What's your life's motto?
My life's motto is life sucks dick.
Yeah, I've heard this before.
And that's why people watch Friends.
Yeah.
You can replace Friends with Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather. Because life sucks dick. And I've been wanting to say this somewhere, so I get to say it here. I was watching a Netflix show with my family. We wanted to watch something together, movie night. We couldn't find a movie, and we settled on this Netflix series, which I think is new. It's called Black Summer. We saw one episode, we didn't see one again, but it was essentially like a post-apocalypse zombie thing.
Yeah.
It's me, Claire, Aiden, and Fiona. We're watching it. Fiona's 7 years old, and she's terrified. The music is horrifying. It's eerie. The shot compositions are blue, gray, opaque. The acting is really, really good. In the first 10 minutes of this series, this family's running away from their house and going to this border where the military is, and the daughter gets on the truck to salvation, and the dad was bit by a zombie, so they don't let him go. And then the mom doesn't get to go on the truck. So now the daughter's going without the family. My daughter is trembling, teeth chattering, freaking out. And my son's like, who's 15? Relax. It's just a movie. Like, why are you freaking out? Like, don't be scared. It's not real. And then the dad dies and the mom has to like run away and then like kills the husband, whatever. My daughter's like, I can't watch this. And my son is just like, what are you scared of? And it hit me. I was like, Aiden, she's not desensitized like you and me. I saw the Red Wedding 10 years ago. Like, I saw the towers fall in real life. Like, I saw the Passion of the Christ when this shit came out, and my raw, moldable, influenceable mind saw this, this propaganda essentially. And I was like, this is real to her, because she asked me, can this happen in real life? And I said, no, baby. But she's not desensitized yet being the operative word. Why does the system in place give us all this content, give us all this, look at me, look at the coming attraction, Logan and Floyd. Why? Obviously capitalism, commerce, I get that, but why? This is a question that the answer is obvious, like, why do they want us to be sensitized? Why do they want us to be asleep? Because when we're asleep, you can't say no. That's fucking why. And they're running ads in our fucking dreams. Like, all that is to answer your question. Like, why do they do that? Why do they shove programmatic entertainment down our throats and profit off of this? It's to distract us, obviously, from real fucking life. Like, that's why. That's the only why, and it sucks that we just consensually give it away. We give it away. And I saw my daughter raw, and she hadn't been desensitized yet. It's if we don't do something, it's going to happen, and then they're going to get her dreams for free.
Do you think that it's better that the filter of the zombies was overlaid on that movie than like child abductees or aliens or something like that?
It's funny you mentioned that. So my daughter wanted,
because I'm sure she was in more fear than your son, because he didn't see himself in the child being
saw it
adopted.
as a production or something.
No, he didn't see himself. She probably saw herself
totally,
in the girl being abducted. She's like, I don't ever want to be stolen away from my parents.
So the answer is yes, like context matters.
Yeah.
It's funny to me, like, when you look at zombies for what they are, they're quite terrifying. But it's acceptable. It's an acceptable form of violence, it's an acceptable form of cannibalism. Like, all these taboos are acceptable. But if you make it about Richard Ramirez, all of a sudden it's cover my daughter's eyes. She can't watch it. She can't watch like real stuff that could happen, when that's the stuff that's arguably more valuable.
Yeah, arguably. It's like stranger danger, motherfucker. But like with a zombie, what am I preparing her for? It's fiction, but real life is the value. But what's the one that's contentious in my household to show the kids? The one that's real, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit to me. It's bullshit. Like, we should be having, this goes back to, you started the show talking about my attitude and being abrasive. Like, let's cut the crap. Let's put our shit right there. Here it is. Here's my dick. Here's what it is. Like, do you want it or not? Period. Not great. Some people are like, this guy's got moxie. I appreciate this. See, like, and they like it. Some people, not so much. And that's fine by me. Like, I've told you before, I got 10 fishing rods out there. Whichever one bites first, that's my favorite. Yeah. Like, I'm dispassionate. I'm agnostic. I'm indifferent about which fishing rod gets the bite. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll reverse engineer why and which bait worked and what later after the fact. But I'm indifferent, And so, but I have to. This presentation to me is like, I don't want to lie. Like, I'm a red pillar, man. Like, I chose to get out. But there is something to be said for fucking ignorance. And there is something to be said for willful ignorance in the system of saying, I don't see the strings. There's something to be said for that. Good for you. But me, all I see are fucking strings, man. And for me, that's why sales, to me, I'm like, if I'm going to sell something, it's going to be my shit.
it's going to be my product. If I'm going to make art and if I'm going to build somebody's dream, it's going to be my art. It's going to be my dream. Because YOLO, you only got the one, you know? That's why I'm on the path that I'm on, like personally. And so when I see somebody like you that I admire that's struggling with the funnel, and that to me is like, well, all I can do as a friend is say, do you really want to do that? You know? And if you do, great. And I support that. And if you want more, then consider that an invitation to life. And you should do that.
Let me ask you this though. Am I working on a funnel when there's no river at all and it's a mirage? Like there's a mirage that I can't see.
What's the paradigm that you're talking about here?
Well, you know, funnels are created to get people to come into the funnel, and in tandem with the people is money. That's the reason why sales funnels exist.
Have you ever gone to a flea market?
I've been to a flea market.
You know how you're walking through a flea market and you see Pokemon cards and you're like, ooh, I'm at the top of the funnel. Mm-hmm. Hey, how much for that one? Is that negotiable? I'm right at the bottom of the funnel. For this guy, he knows he's on the checkout. He added to cart. You know, all I got to do is close this, and he might be like, I know it says 15, but I'll let it go for 13. And I'm like, make it 12, and he says deal. That's the funnel.
That's the flea market.
So that to me is what. Just take that brick and mortar and put it in e-commerce. That's the funnel.
Yeah.
So what is the thing that is like a moth to a flame drawing me to the thing? If I don't hear about it and if I don't know about it, I don't know. The real estate of the internet only benefits the algorithm, but the real estate of the internet makes it very difficult to stand out.
It's infinite.
It is.
And there's no there's no credit. There's nothing preventing someone else to knock you off, to make a knockoff. That's what, am I saying this in a way that you understand?
What's for instance?
On Alibaba, they can sell Nikes, but they're not real Nikes, you know?
Oh, they're not? I didn't know that.
That's bad.
Counterfeits.
That's terrible. I'm not saying Alibaba is counterfeit, but I mean, what I'm saying is like counterfeits can exist on the internet, whereas in the real marketplace, what
I don't know, man. When I went to Times Square, there was tons of fake shit there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Like, but
if you go to an H&M in real life, odds are it's not going to be fake.
Odds are they're going to be real, right?
Ideally, yes.
In China, they have fake Apple stores. Apparently, I mean, I've never seen with my own eyeballs, but you know, like,
well, anyways, on the internet, the checks and balances aren't there.
The checks and balances aren't there. So
you're also competing with. You're also competing
the
with
whole world.
Yeah,
and the copyright protections, everything that's associated with the way we operate in the United States doesn't apply to the rest of the world. I mean,
why haven't you ever done the Patreon? The Patreon model.
I mean,
it seems like you'd benefit off of that.
The Patreon model being subscriber model.
Yeah. It seems like you'd benefit off.
So I just need to create a product. Like I have no products.
Content.
Right, but I mean, like who's watching? That's the thing. Like I got to create good products. That's good.
So
content.
that's incentive to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to do that. But
what's stopping you?
The Patreon model, you know, that's how Esports Business Network works to a degree. It's just being built.
If you did an additional, esports, is it video?
So the membership model is there's video and there's also.
Oh, so you do have a membership model.
We have a membership model, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you are doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is being done. It's being built. You got to figure out what the incentives are. Why would someone pay $5 for second tier?
For me, I would do it for additional content. I would do it for behind the scenes content. I would do it for back catalog. I would do it for. I would pay even extra for one-on-one shit. Yeah, if that was possible.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah,
at least in that brand has that development. Trent Knox doesn't have that development because Trent Knox doesn't know what he is. I mean, Trent Knox doesn't know what he is. I mean, I do all these things, but do I know really what I am? No, I don't know. I don't know.
Do you care to know?
I think I'll get there. I mean, there's so many things in my life that are telling me that it's impossible to know who I really am. Because I mean,
what do
I don't
people
want to
tell
go
you?
through all this, but
You don't.
people
Okay.
don't tell me because my mom doesn't tell me. My grandmother doesn't tell. They'll tell me what they think I am, but they don't tell me who I really am. You know what I mean? They're.
It sounds like you don't like what they have to say. That's what it sounds
No,
like.
I mean they don't give me the full information. They don't know the full information. Nobody really does. So you have to figure out for yourself who you are, and I haven't figured it out.
You have the full information.
No, I don't know who my real biological dad is.
That doesn't matter.
I don't know I don't know why I'm here. I don't know. Nobody does.
You were here
really.
because a dude nutted in your mom.
That's simplification. I'm talking about like the
You think there's more to it than that?
no, but that's just an example of one thing I don't know. So then there's all these other things that I don't know.
And you feel like in order
If I
to
knew more, then if the percentage amount of how much more I knew than I didn't know, I think I'd be in a better place.
do you feel like you'd be able to make more content if you knew those answers?
I think I would feel more confident in the value that what I'm creating is meaningful at the end of the day because I'm someone that's knowledgeable versus somebody that, you know, is 50-50.
If I could write you a prescription.
Because I think people think I'm iffy.
Okay. If I could write you a prescription of something that you could
I don't
implement.
know. I kind of like him, but I kind of don't. You know,
People think that people feel that way about you or they think that about you.
I think that's what people think about me.
You should audit them.
I mean, I already know what people are willing to say about me.
I would make content without all the meaning and the identity and all that stuff and keep doing things that you like to do.
Yeah, that's why I believe in
and
that.
then figure all that stuff out later. Like
I believe in that.
it doesn't matter right now. Like
I believe in that.
it sounds like, imagine if I said, I don't want to go to the gym because I don't know who I really am. Like it sounds like you don't want to go to the gym.
That's like that's a different thing. But a more logical thing to say is I don't know workouts, so I don't want to go to the gym.
It's an excuse though. We know that.
You can learn workouts,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So
you should go to the gym and figure it out.
I don't think. Well, personally, as someone who knows workouts, that's not the way to do it.
I would tell a person.
That's the same reason why you torrented Tony Robbins.
What's the same reason?
You go to the gym, you see all the things, but you don't really know. So you have to find somebody who knows to be able to do.
I took action.
Yeah, you have to take action, but the action is to find the knowledge.
Yeah, a person who wants to go to the gym to do all that, like, doesn't need to call the gym and be like, "Can I?" Like, you just go. You ask someone when you're there. Like, you've heard those stories, and I have too, where someone
I'm
meets.
getting way too personal.
Okay, we don't need to go personal.
No. I'm not even. I'm not communicating this.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is like the gym I go to, there's nobody there. It's just like an open gym, right? So like if that's the reality that someone lives in, I go to the gym. I feel ridiculous saying this, but I go to the gym. It sounds so ridiculous. It's pretentious because there's all these people, the idiocracy of it all, that are sitting on their ass in a sofa watching TV, never doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I hate being that person. I would rather just be the person that people like and not this hard ass, military brat that played football when he was growing up. Like just an archetype of a fucking
who you
douche.
are though, who you really are. That's who you really are. That's yourself. Don't deny yourself. Like that's who you are.
Yeah, but it hurts me more than it does benefit me.
It doesn't need to hurt you, bro.
It does.
Don't let it hurt you.
It does.
Dude, I'm a street rat from down in Texas. I don't let it hurt me. Like it's just
it hurts you in this world
it's
where
just
it's constant. Like
it's 10 threads a part of my elaborate tapestry.
it's constant CRT. It's constant. You can't do this. You're a white this. You're a black that. You're this. You're this, that, the third. Like, fuck you. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not good. That's not good. And it's this constant criticism. And to be something that's a failure, even at being the thing that you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's
courage.
That's where I would rather be. I would rather be something different that I'm recognized as being good at, instead of being thought of as this farm, rural kid that grew up in, north of Austin, Texas. And I am these things, and I do talk and pride about them, but they don't, it just doesn't resonate. It doesn't resonate in a positive manner because there's so much negativity attached to it.
Say so.
I
say so.
I just dumped.
There are
stuff.
people who would have what you would call an ideal life. Okay, that have the two parents, that have the whatever background, and a grandpa and grandma that loved them, and then they went fucking trick or treating and whatever their portrait of the ideal American family. So whatever that archetype is, I guarantee you that they get their share of criticisms and backlash, and even though they're perfectly wholesome, well, you're privileged, affluenza, and like they get it too, man. So it's like the grass is greener as the other side thing, to me, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's say we're wrapping up here. I want to make sure you get all your shit in.
Gotta wrap up. Gotta wrap it up.
You and I know that we could talk for 3-4 hours easily.
Yeah, I
and get nowhere, but still have a 4-hour conversation.
I think that the thing is the thing that we were getting into there before I'm going to wrap it up here, is, competing against identity politics in a world where we're trying to make money off our likeness. So that's really what it is at the end of the day. And I want to be who I am, and I want to be financially successful off of the person that I am. But if that's not what it is, I got to be something else. It goes back to the sales thing.
I would say, 20
years
years ago, a black male said the same thing. The identity politics. I just want to be accepted. I just want to be able to be accepted and still be successful. I should be able to, I don't want to have to feint that I'm straight. I don't want to have to be able to fake life. I want to be able to fuck men and be myself and go out there and not be looked at, even in my community, even amongst my fellow black friends, family. And a long enough time, but I think those that stayed the course, I respect them. And here they are today. They're more accepted now more than ever. Same thing with transgender, same thing with any.
At the expense of others. That's just the way it is.
There's a give and take with evolution. We're talking about evolution. There's a give and take.
I think it's regression.
My point is, they should not minimize themselves or their character for the comfortability of the norm for the majority. They should be loud and proud and be themselves and march forward and let the rest of the world catch up with them.
That is the lead to the fall of an empire.
Well, guess what? Then let's let it fall. Then it needs to fall. It needs to fall then.
Well, then if I could agree to that, then I think that there should be some new establishment that exists without those things that create those things to fall.
I think everybody agrees with that.
Maybe. I think there are a lot of, people who are on the fringe that want to be, transracial or whatever, that would argue like that they want to force themselves into societies that they don't need to be present in. That's the way it is. But anyway, wrapping it up. Yeah, with Knives, we could talk about any subject forever, and whatnot. And this is like, I forced him to do this. I came and got him hostage and whatnot. So
it's fun exercise. I hadn't podcasted in a long time.
Yeah. And, I want you to create content. I saw you did good content and whatnot. So I want to appreciate you for coming on the show and whatnot. And if you could let other people know about the stuff that you're doing.
Indie Darlings, indiedarlings.net, Indie Darlings on YouTube, Indie Darlings on Instagram. That's where I'm focusing the majority of my attention. It's great because I don't like Knives Monroe, the brand. I don't like it. Like, it's not the thing I want to build. You can't break me down into a brand. Like, I'm a human. I'm Knives Monroe, the human. And I want to keep that way. Indie Darling can be the brand, you know, let's make that the brand. But if you're asking me where people can support me and find me, it's that. My name is Knives Monroe. You can come find me. It's the internet. Do the work wherever I'm at. Always down to engage in new conversations, make new friends. We're here in Austin. You know, Austin's coming alive again, and it's great. So I've been saying yes to a lot of things, like in the Jim Carrey sense of the word. Like I've just been a yes man, and it's provided such newness that was so vastly needed for me that I've been having new dreams of like new characters in my dreams, because usually I have the same 9 recurring nightmares, and now it's like new dreams. So saying yes to new things. So that's what I'm about right now.
Amazing. And yeah, I'm Trent Knox. You should go to www.trentknox.com to connect with me. And signing off on this content. Y'all have a wonderful one.
I'll cut this out, but what do you think about all this? It feels good, right? Do you like the mic in the hand?
This is kind of stressful.
You think it's stressful? It feels like there should be an audience right here, because this is what it would be. There was an audience.
If I was doing
I could have laughed this up, but I
would definitely laugh.
I considered it, but I just love this as a presentation. It just feels like it feels like we're up to something with this.
But there should be something to set it in so you can rest your hand.
You know why? And I thought about that. You know why people have that? It's so they could do nothing with their hands. And I'm like, why do you want to do nothing with your hands? I'm always thinking, what am I doing with my hands? And now that I have a microphone, I'm like, I know what I'm doing with my hand. You know, like it takes care of that. And also I'm like a bite my nails kind of person. Like I like to hold on to stuff.
You know what it is?
What is it?
It's a furniture thing.
No, I don't want to have a table just to do that. Like, I don't want to do that
just for comfort
I don't like the visual. It's too
I get what you're saying.
Like it's too Rogan-y, like podcast. Everybody thinks that's the way to do it.
I accept it.
And I like the laugh too. I've done laugh.
Even